Welcome. In this lesson, we're learning the cosecant, secant, and cotangent trigonometric functions. Now, the cosecant is just the sine function flipped upside down. In other words, the cosecant of an angle is equal to 1 over the sine of an angle, or just flip the fraction of the sine, which now makes it hypotenuse over opposite. So cosecant of A is the hypotenuse over the opposite, or the sine of A is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Secant of A is the reciprocal of the cosine, or the cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. The secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. Cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent function, or 1 over the tangent function. So where the tangent is opposite over adjacent, the cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Again, take a moment, write those down. Then all we need to do is identify our angle. This is the angle we're looking at. So let's identify the three sides as far as which one's the hypotenuse, which doesn't matter which angle we look at, which one's the opposite, which now that does depend. Since we're looking at E, this is the opposite, and since we're looking at E, this will be the adjacent. Now we're looking for cosecant. Cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite, so hypotenuse over opposite, it would be 85 over 77. And again, make sure you try to reduce if that possibly reduces, which it doesn't. So I'm just going to do 85 over 77. Now, I recommend you try to, if you need to go back and write those down, rewind and write those down. But I would recommend memorizing that the cosecant, the CSC, this one here, is related to the sine function. It's just upside down. The secant is related to the cosine, and the cotangent is related to the tangent. Just those fractions flipped upside down. So when I'm looking for the cosecant, again, cosecant's the sine, so W is here. Sine is opposite over adjacent, or sorry, opposite over hypotenuse. So the cosecant would be hypotenuse over opposite, or 65 over 56. Over 56. 65 and 65, 56. Cotangent, the reciprocal of the tangent. So I'm going to find Z. Here's Z, opposite, adjacent, but cotangent's not opposite over adjacent, it's adjacent over opposite, so it's 16 over 30, and then I reduce that to 8/15. Again, not too difficult. Just make sure that you get the right ratio in the right order. I'm going to skip ahead because, again, you're eventually going to get some that will require you to use Pythagorean's theorem, or you'll have square roots. So I'm going to jump way up here until I find one with some square roots. So like this one here, don't let the square roots throw you. Again, R is the angle we're looking at. We're looking for the cotangent, which is the reciprocal of the tangent. So opposite over adjacent will be adjacent over opposite. It's 2 square roots of 10 over 2 square roots of 30. The 2's cancel, leaving the square root of 10 over 30, because both of those are square rooted. That means it's the square root of 1 over 3, which is 1 over the square root of 3. Now I need to rationalize my denominator. Rationalized form, make sure you rationalize the denominator by multiplying by 1, which is the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. And I get the square root of 3 over 3 will be my final solution that I plug in. So again, if you need help with those square roots, make sure you ask me in class and we will do a review on square roots. And we will see you then.